Aaron Lewis is a douche chode.
Yeah, guess who's back?
Aaron Lewis is a wank pheasant.
Stained has returned.
Aaron Lewis is a goddamn peckerhead.
I fully agree with every one of those statements. Stain's newest song, Lowest in Me. I think this is the first single they've released since...
Aaron Lewis wishes he was a wart on Kid Rock's ass.
And we are... Fuck. I don't know if it's recording that. I just have my track muted. It's fine. It's fine. Audio levels are fine. Everything's fine. Good.
We're off to bang and start.
Bang and start. So we haven't done this shit in like over a month now. Just putting that out there. That's why there hasn't been an episode in about close to a month now. Because we've been busy this month of April and late March since we recorded last.
Yeah, something about like 13 shows and 40-hour work weeks and
a lot of shows, a lot of work weeks. We went on
liking other people besides us.
Yeah, we went on a since the last time we recorded. We went on a tour with a.
Goddamn.
Yeah, it's been that long.
Yeah.
We went on a little tour with a death metal band from Athens, Georgia, by the name of Guillotine AD, and we were going to record, or we had the idea to record an episode on the road, but between all the drinking, debauchery, and traveling, that didn't happen.
Yeah, but I got to be on a beach for like 4 hours, so...
All you talked about was like the beach, like the whole 2 days before, and like the whole...
That's all I wanted, dude.
You got your beach, that's for damn sure.
I mean, I needed it for like another 2 months, but I got it for 4 hours.
Yeah, we toured through the Carolinas and Louisville on a 5-day run with Guillotine AD, going through cities like Winston-Salem, Wilmington, Columbia, South Carolina, and some others. We visited a brewery in Asheville, North Carolina for
New Belgium.
New Belgium Brewing, home of the Voodoo Ranger.
Fat Tire,
and all those good ones. We went on a beach in Wilmington, North Carolina. That was fun. Passed out in the Reggie's 42nd Street parking lot in our bus.
That dude's on a beach vacation right now, and he was repping our shirt.
Nice. The bartender?
Yeah.
Nice. Yes, we met a lot of cool people over on the run. And on top of that run, we also played shows in Evansville. No, it was like Princeton, Indiana.
Which was actually after the taping of the microphone to the microphone stand, so you could even sing.
Yes, that did happen. Yeah, like this place we played, they had three microphones, but only 2 microphone stands.
It had all the makings to be a disastrous set, and we pretty well nailed it.
And we like tapered down to our OG 3-man set for that one too.
Yeah, which we've done twice lately.
Yes, done that twice.
Which in its own right is fun. It's kind of fun having
the raw OG setup.
The ability to go back and forth. Like that's I mean, it's beautiful to have a band member say, "Oh, I can't make it." It's like, "Oh yeah, we can still go play.
We can still do it." Now, if like one of us does it,
you know what I'm saying, do it at a high level. So
yes. So yeah, we still managed, and so yeah, we were real busy with shows. This past it's not time for me to announce the date yet, but this past Saturday, we're recording this on a Monday.
We outdrew the Black Keys in Akron, Ohio.
Technically,
I mean, it's a phrase that can be said.
Yes, yes. Technically, we outdrew.
But the one time the Black Keys played at the same venue we did, the one time we played at that venue, we drew more people than the one time that I heard of the Black Keys playing there, and that's all I need to know.
Yes, that was at Annabelle's in Akron, Ohio, which people in the mosh pit decided to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in the pit.
It's quite hot.
It was quite hot. But it was a couple that was doing it.
After you realized it was a couple.
Yes. At least I'm just assuming they're a couple because I didn't see them make any romantic gestures to each other outside of rolling around around each other.
I mean, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in the pit, when it's mutual, it's pretty loving.
That's pretty lovey-dovey, I would say. But yeah, that's all this shows and playing. Oh, and Revenge of the Toker Fest this past Saturday is what we played here in our town of Lexington.
Revenge of the Sleepy Dave.
Revenge of the Sleepy Dave, because you were a tired boy on that
Dude, I went and mowed my yard after work, too. And then got set up for a fucking 6-hour show.
People were mad you didn't take your shirt off.
I mean, dude, you got Flummox did all the nudity that was necessary for the night.
Yeah, they covered the nudity.
Like that was another reason why by the end of the night I was just like, "What am I even supposed to do?"
Yeah, we had to follow Flummox from Murphy's.
And not even just Flummox; it was the Kjarn, Appalachitari, and Flummox back to back to back.
Yeah,
especially the Flummox way.
Especially Flummox, who's very good at the whole live theatrical thing. We can't exactly. It's a little hard to top their musicianship that they have.
The energy. I mean, if you play with so I mean, I made the joke a lot of times. It's like, man, I'm glad we never played before Daikaiju. And that's kind of now they're going to be the joke for me. Flummox is like, fuck, we played after Flummox.
Yeah.
And a bunch of dumbasses.
It's like, yeah, this might have not have been the greatest of our ideas, but it was a fun time. But it just felt like, yeah, are y'all ready to be disappointed after Flummox went on stage?
Which the people that were left, because it's a long ass show, and actually the people that were left were pretty much there from the beginning. So thank you for
thanks you to all you who are out there.
I'll say that actually stuck around. Wasn't quite as successful that I wanted it to be on the draw front, but there was a lot going on.
You had to compete with Lizzo at Rupp Arena.
Lizzo and yeah.
There was a big event happening
Mojo
at the Burl.
Thunder was at the Burl.
Oh, that's who it was.
Yeah, and then fucking MP Presley and Lantern, and
there was a lot going on.
There was cancer benefit with All Saints Fate and all that at Manchester. It was like, dude.
Yeah, this was a hard night.
Yeah, I'd say it was like a lot of friends that, support each other. We're all doing shit at the same time.
So working on a Saturday night.
So, but I mean, fuck. Anytime that we were able to put together a lineup like that and be amazed and in all from front to back, start to finish, Caravan Discordia, He's Dead Jim, Kjarn, Appalachitari, and Flummox. And then, we tried.
We tried.
But I ain't gonna lie, I had nothing left in me. I was just I was spent. And then I literally slept like fucking 14 hours the next day straight. Yeah, but to be fair, the day of the show, I woke up at like 6:45, and by the time I got home, it was about 3 a.m. So, and I mowed my yard in between all that like a dummy.
Kept them real busy.
Yeah, so I just, man, by the end of the fucking full blown day fest thing, and like I said, I would say that probably just the entire past month, kind of catching up. So now I'm mildly well rested and only mildly stoned. So
only mildly stoned, which is just standard day.
Well, yeah, man, I need to put a ban on edibles on show day.
Jesus Christ. But yeah, we've been keeping real busy, like with all the shows past month, which is why the podcast has been kind of delayed / on the back burner a little bit. But this upcoming month of May, we only have the one show scheduled, Fist of Riffs in Louisville.
And it sounds as sexy as you want it.
Fistin' with Riffs, which we get to play with a lot of good bands on that. The Skull headlining that day alongside Druids, Speed Dealer, Ohm playing right before us.
Jimmery, Blackwater Station.
Yeah, it's got to be a real packed day.
And who are the early bands? There is one I don't know. Shit, it's my cover photo. Give me like 2-3 seconds.
Yes. He's pulling that up right now. This is great podcasting.
What the fuck is that? SHC. All right.
Yeah, this is the downside of not having a visual podcast. This is like
Snake Handler Church.
Snake Handler Church. So that's Kentucky as fuck.
Yeah, it's like we like to beat off. Maybe. Well, and then Muisti. So
we're very familiar with the Muisti people.
And then just because it's a 2-day thing and we got a lot of homies on day one, Kjarn, who we just talked about, Joe Grudge, who has got the amazing drummer from home, so they're fucking phenomenal too.
Yes.
Bastard Sons of a Judas Goat. The
just
hell
played
you
with
say?
Goat Whore.
Yeah. Artwork for the Blind, who is putting this thing together. Shout out to Soul. And then our good friends from West Virginia, Horse Burner and 20 Watt Tombstone. So 2-day fest. Says $20 advance, $25 at the door. Does not say if there's a separate charge per day. I'm going to assume that it is. But yeah, that one's a stacked one. It's our only show coming up here in May. So
It's very stacked lineup at 21st Amendment Tavern in Louisville, Kentucky.
Make the trip, y'all. It'll be a good one.
Make the trip. It'll be a fun time. But yeah, so now they got all that explanation out of the way of why we've been away for so long, we are back now. So let's get on with the show. Greetings, hard and heavy music fans, and welcome to episode 16 of the Heavy Haystack Podcast, a podcast about all things heavy music for music fans like you. The date is April 24th, 2023, as we are recording this. And fuck, I thought I remember how to do this shit.
You did better than you usually do.
Did better than I normally do. It's we're recording this April 24th. My name is Dante, and I'm here with my co-host, Mr. David Andrew Langley.
That was like a solid 6 out of 10, and your usual is 2.5.
For not having done this in a month, I'd say that's pretty solid.
I appreciate the very hard job you have at introducing the show.
Yes, and for introducing the show, putting together the topics of the show, the outline, and all that stuff, and recording and editing and all the other shit.
Yeah, please do all the work while I just show up and look pretty.
Yes, this isn't even a video podcast. You don't even got to look pretty. You just got to sound pretty.
I know, but everybody, they hear that voice, they start getting all moister than an oyster.
Moister than an oyster.
They're just like, oh, give me that voice, Dave.
Oh, yeah, silky smooth.
Give me that D voice.
Oh.
Hey, we got the double D voices up in this bitch.
But yes, we have a news and new releases episode of the Heavy Haystack Podcast for you today after we've been away for a bit. And there are some interesting topics on the docket for today, including a old rock and roll legend getting his final recordings released. We have a big 4 band canceling yet another tour once again. One of the few good butt rock bands reuniting with their one good singer, and also talking about the latest albums from some heavy hitters of the thrash metal world, amongst other things. But before all that, we have a show sponsor.
Do I know who this one is?
You do actually know who this one is.
Sweet.
Yes.
I like being able to.
You do. And you should know the song, I would hope, possibly, too.
All right.
This we actually already mentioned them earlier in the podcast. This is a song from Guillotine AD with their song, The Hammer.
There we go.
And that was Guillotine AD with the song The Hammer. We already talked about our run with them at the cold open of the podcast, so we don't got to go into too much more detail.
Besides about how beautiful their drummer is.
Yes, they are some beautiful, beautiful men that were very gracious for asking us to be on the road with them on
the other
run.
two were okay. Their drummer's sexy as fuck.
he's very good.
I told him he's one of the ones I've chosen to infatuate myself with for the rest of the year.
Just one of the man crushes.
Well, you got to find a couple a year to make absolutely uncomfortable to solidify your friendship, but
that's the way how friendships are truly made,
especially in music. There's a lot of people. It's like the ones that said the most awkward as possible shit to me are the ones I usually endear myself to pretty quickly.
It's like, hey, you're a weirdo. Let's go.
You did something I would totally do. Let's pretty much dry hump each other every time we see each other for the next 15 years.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But, Guillotine AD, that was some quality groovy death metal for your ear holes right there. That was from their Born to Fall album, which came out in July of last year in 2022 via M Theory Audio recordings.
One of their music videos, they're repping a Storm Toker shirt.
Yes. It's probably the one for the Hammer. For this song, actually, I think. Because they had two singles. They had The Hammer, and they also had
Is it Born to Fall?
Born to Fall is the name of the album, and also a track on the album as well.
Whatever. There's a music video where the bass player looks sexy in a Storm Toker shirt. The drummer's just a sexy man in general.
Little Evan Posey, drummer for Guillotine.
The guitar player got me drunk enough for me to find him sexy too. So
that's how you got to just get David drunk.
Yeah, South Carolina man, he made my night.
Oh yeah, if we got plastered pretty. I got the worst plastered on the Wilmington show on the Friday.
Everybody, I was sleeping on a pillow up next to a tree because I didn't know where the vomit was.
You slept outside by the tree?
Yeah, for a minute.
So you slept outside by the tree. I slept in the driver's seat of the bus.
Travis set up their mattress outside behind the bus.
And Anthony slept in a chair after puking inside of the bus on the floor.
On an air mattress. His air mattress.
His air mattress that he slept near.
And to be fair, there wasn't a lot of mess. It's like he kind of just went, bleh. Oh no.
I guess it was just small enough. It was like mystery puke. We'll find where the puke is.
But yeah. So, by the way, Wilmington, North Carolina is a great city in the history of the world. Because again, they definitely helped us get there. Yes. That's for damn sure. Usually bars are like, please get the fuck out. This dude was like, dude, I love you guys. Let's hang out.
Yeah, shout out to the bartender of Reggie's 42nd Street
Which I think is Mike Whitley. I don't fucking know. But you're wearing a t-shirt somewhere in some goddamn beach scenario.
Mr. possibly named Mike Whitley from Wilmington, North Carolina. Shout out to you. If you probably not listen to this podcast, but shout out to you anyway. If you want to support Guillotine AD, their music is available on all your favorite streaming services, and you can buy their merch, their vinyl, their music, and all that from their Bandcamp at guillotinead.bandcamp.com.
Hey, Michael Whitley.
Michael Whitley. So you got the name right. Yes.
My brain isn't completely rotted out of my skull.
But let's see. We have a few things on the news docket here to talk about, so let's get into the heavy music news. So, on the first story for the heavy music news, something that this is start off with some positivity. We don't even got anything overly negative on this episode, I don't think. But this is...
okay, about the news, my bad.
Okay, yeah, we do... Okay, I guess we do have some negative stuff to talk about later on. But the first bit of news, the surviving members of the band Soundgarden and Chris Cornell's widow, Vicky Cornell, have reached an agreement to release the final recordings from Chris Cornell that he did with Soundgarden. As many of you may already know, Chris Cornell passed away on May 18th of 2017 while on tour with Soundgarden. During that time, the band was working on their next album follow-up to their last album, 2012's King Animal. And so there's at least some recordings that were done with the band that will be seeing the light of day after they settled this out of court because they didn't want to involve the court with the details going back and forth of trying to like see about the rights of recording and all that. But this is one of the latest of many legal battles the band has had with Vicky Cornell as well. They've had other battles in like 2019 over unpaid royalties, and a second lawsuit over access to the band's social media accounts. But they've at least managed to find common ground on this one and come to an agreement on releasing these final recordings.
It's always baffling how complicated a lot of that shit gets.
Yeah, the world of music, when you start getting into the money side of things and the legal side of things, can get quite annoying.
Well, especially with the old guard, I'd say, because I mean, when you had the record industry presence to the level that it used to be, and you know they were making stars out of people in bands, and not necessarily making stars out of the band, and
yeah,
yada yada. I don't feel like there's as much of that. You know, obviously in hard rock and heavy music, mainly because there's not as much commercial success involved.
Yeah, there's not as much money in it these days.
But even then, when there is a project like, you know, Ghost that fucking gets as successful as it has, there's always some kind of weird legal issue drama. And for whatever fucking reason, when people die, it just seems to get sticky. So I'm glad that something's working out. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to any of this stuff, the people that matter to the end game, really, it's, you know, it's the fucking fans, you know.
They're the lifeblood of any band.
No matter what you are as the wife, you gotta realize that your livelihood is, you know, probably paid for by said fans.
Yes.
And as a band, you know, same fucking thing. So it's like, you know, I wish it was easier for a lot of bands to figure this shit out, because, you know, at the end of the day, just being good people kind of goes a long way.
It does help a lot. I'm glad that we're finally getting to hear these final recordings. Of course, like Chris Cornell had his like solo work that he was always releasing and working on, usually lean more towards an acoustic direction with that stuff. But of course, like what most people know Chris Cornell for is his work with Soundgarden. And from what I remember, King Animal was a quality album, which showed they still have it in them to all work together and make some quality tunes.
See, that's what I was curious. So is it only strictly going to be material from that era, or is this going to be lost shit from
I'm assuming because
forever?
The Soundgarden, other Soundgarden members were involved, this is going to be Soundgarden material.
Well, no, but that's what I'm saying. Like, is it going to be just from that recent recording session, or is it going to be throughout the years?
It was just going to be from these the last recording sessions. As far as like what was shown on the websites that were detailing about it, because these are like the last things that he recorded, essentially. So it's not like
but it does open the door that if they want to go deep dive in some archives.
Yeah, assuming that this agreement, if there are some older recordings that were released, like if there's anniversaries coming up or something like that, there's always something. Like Linkin Park just had like their 20th anniversary for Meteor, and there's a whole bunch of old tracks that they've brought out for that one.
Yeah.
Even more than just like the 2 or 3 singles that were released from.
Which when you're a super fan, that shit's cool. Like I hate, I will say I hate when Spotify has like only one version of an album available, and it's like, oh yeah, 40 fucking practice tracks or whatever. Like, oh, here's the third bass take from the fucking Death Records are bad for it.
Yeah, I remember seeing there was like one like random live recording from the Death Record.
So I put like all their records on my Spotify at one point.
Oh.
And didn't realize, because I was just going through like, you know.
Yeah, you got to come through that stuff.
Well, and then, so like back when my Spotify was more of its primitive, you know, like maybe 1,000 songs that I had saved, not the 5, 6. Because I quit saving songs after a while too.
True.
I don't, because if I listen to it a lot, it tends to pop up. So
yeah, I just make playlists.
And if it's something that I looked up and I want to keep it around, I will like it still, but I don't like as much as I did. But like I said, I got, back when I first started liking shit, like I said, so I had like every Death record that's on Spotify, but like it would always, it was like you'd be listening to like something, chilling, fucking 20 minutes worth of music, and all of a sudden like, oh, it's the bass track with the drum track from Human for like one song.
That's a really, I think they're stretching out a little thin at this point.
Yeah, and it's like, well, but it'd be cool if all that stuff like was something in like a collection separate or something.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Like, yeah, let me look into that, not force feed it into But then again, when it first came out, or when it came out, it was probably part of like a bigger box set or some shit. Like the physical media probably was really cool.
Yeah, like that's,
but
especially for something from that era.
when it becomes the only fucking recording on Spotify, it's like fuck.
Yeah, it gets aggravating. But hopefully, this new material with Soundgarden, well, new to the public,
New to the world, yeah,
will be released in a proper fashion. And do Chris Cornell justice, I would hope.
I have no doubts. He does it himself, so.
Very true. Speaking of old bands, talking about old material, Cavalera Conspiracy, the band featuring the Cavalera brothers, Max and Igor of Sepultura and Soulfly fame, said they've just recently signed to Nuclear Blast and are going to be doing re-records of Sepultura's first album, Morbid Visions, along with their first EP, Bestial Devastation, from 1985 and I think 1986 or 7, respectively. And then these re-recordings will also include 2 new tracks that will be featuring riffs that the band remembers from that era, apparently. So I guess it's just unused riffs from that same era of time, from the very early Sepultura days.
That sounds like some shit they could make up for marketing.
I feel like it is, because I feel like if you've had riffs like sitting around that you would put out into the world from 1985, you would have used it for something already.
Yeah. See, and I feel like we've already kind of been on this subject with Sepultura before, and I'm kind of like, okay, how excited could I even fucking get? Whatever. Like
They said they weren't too fond of the recording quality from the era, so they're trying to give it some modern punch.
Yeah, but it's them giving like that little cunt hair hope of Sepultura stuff.
True.
And it's just like, I don't know.
I mean, they have been doing anniversary tours for like Arise and one of the other classic albums in the past year or two, giving that whole deal to the fans.
Yeah, but like,
so essentially, it's like Sepultura with the Cavalera brothers, but not the rest of the.
Just do the money grab, you dicks. Just do it. Just do it once. Every one of y'all, just quit being a bunch of bitches.
I mean, like, I think they've gotten along well enough to be cordial, at least in the media and all that stuff. I don't think they've even done a thing where like Max has like played on stage with them or anything like that.
No,
since,
I don't think so. Well,
if they did it like just one festival where they reunited,
it just always seems like one of those things. Like it's like, and maybe I just need to read into it, but it seems like it's not even that bad, and it just won't happen. Like I don't know. Like they just.
Also, like some people might think that would be a little bit disrespectful to the current Sepultura vocalist Derek Green to a degree, because he has a whole history that's gone longer than Max has now with Sepultura.
Oh, that's fine and dandy. It's a tour.
It'd be a tour, but
and then they make a bunch of money, and then he can go fucking start another band and be another recycled asshole in the music industry. That's how this works now, Dante. It's all incestuous bullshit. It's like, oh, this band was already signed. What band are they starting now? Oh, well, I don't care if it sucks or not. No, I'm just kidding.
It's kind of like local band level shit, but on a international scale.
Shit, bullshit. That's how the fucking record industry works now. Most of the bands that are signed is somebody from somebody starting something else.
We're going to have talk of that with the singles later on.
Exactly. I mean, and I ain't talking shit on that front, but like, it is a very, very common thing.
Yeah.
But whatever. Cool. Thanks for re-recording Sepultura like 30 years too late or something. Get back with fucking...
This will bring some excitement to like at least like younger fans of Sepultura who like get to hear the old tracks with some modern...
No, there's going to be a bunch of old people buying shit.
Probably. That's how it
bunch
often
of
goes
fucking
with these things.
old Full Terror Assault 60-year-old motherfuckers that you see up there. They're going to be like, hell yeah. They're doing it. They're doing that thing.
Speaking of some hell yeah brother shit, we have 3 Days Grace. 3 Days Grace. They recently reunited with their original singer Adam Gontier on stage in Huntsville, Alabama for the last 2 songs of a set they played down there.
Why the fuck's he in Bama? Are they from Bama?
No, they're from
So
Canada.
this motherfucker just randomly in Alabama at the same time?
That I don't know. I don't know why Adam Gontier was in.
Who the fuck goes out of their way to go to Alabama for 2 songs?
Because I was thinking like Adam Gontier like is currently with his current band Saint Sonia, and he's also starting another project who had a dumb name that I can't remember. But they for the last 2 songs of the set that currently 3 Days Grace is on tour with Shinedown. And they, for the last two songs of the set, they played two of their classics, the songs Riot and Never Too Late from their album 1X.
Did this news come out like 3 days late, like via Pony Express, because it's in the middle of Alabama?
No, this came out. When it came out like the day after.
Oh, see, I'm hearing the hooves beat the dirt.
Oh man, really, like outside of like, fuck, I'm getting this goodbye.
Sorry for that visual. And like a horse left the venue with a dude, just like, we gotta tell somebody that the 3 days grace guy's back in the fuck band in the middle of Alabama.
This happened at the Von Braun Center in Huntsville, Alabama, and of course, like Adam Gante left the band in 2013. I forgot to write that part down. It was like 2013, 2014, around that time. After his last album with them was in 2009. Which out of the so-called butt rock umbrella, 3 Days Grace is one of the bands that I actually enjoyed with Adam Gante. That is, the new singer's Dog Poo Poo. Never liked him. He's the brother of the drummer, and he's the guy that sang that porn star dancing song from My Darkest Days. Remember that booty hole track?
I don't remember nothing about none of this shit.
Yeah. Well,
like, what's the 3 Days Grace song? What's the one?
Never Too Late. Just Like You.
Yeah, I know.
It's never too late. It's never too late. You know that. You've heard the song. Boom, ba-doom, ba-doom, ba-doom. Acoustic guitar intro. Type of thing.
What's the other one?
I Hate Everything About You.
Oh yeah,
you know that.
Like,
I heard that all over.
Hey.
Yeah. Everything.
Is that the first singer?
That was the OG singer. Yes.
And that's this guy.
Yes, that who we're talking about. Adam Gante. Yes.
You come back too, you dick. Go for the money grab.
Yeah. This might be. They said that this was like they're kind of hinting that this could be the start of something.
That's why they did it in Alabama. They're like, let's make sure he's all right still.
Like, yeah, but this it was all over Twitter apparently, where people were like super hyped that Adam Gante rejoined the band on stage. Of course, he's with San Antonio, who is much better than current 3 Days Grace is right now. That's for sure. Of course, San Antonio is the band Adam Gante has with some other Stained members as well in that band. But they make some good music for the style, though. I enjoyed their EP.
San Antonio sucks.
San Antonio.
San Antonio got some big old women, Kenny.
Oh, boy. I have family.
Victoria's a secret down there, Kenny.
I got family in San Antonio.
they wear nothing but bloomers down there, Kenny.
Boy, which just dissing on Texas.
Them big girls down there eating churros. Sugar flying everywhere, Kenny.
Oh, dude, Chris. The Charles Barkley lives on.
Always. Forever.
Oh,
best basketball man ever.
Best basketball man. But yeah, there's no confirmation over if this is like hinting at a possible tour with Adam Gante. Is San Antonio and 3 Days Grace going to tour together in the future? Well,
we're still waiting for the news to come out of Alabama and all that.
But out of like the old butt rock bands, with Adam Gante's era of 3 Days Grace was one I actually enjoyed and still enjoy from time to time these days.
The opinions of Dante Montgomery are not fully representative of everybody on this podcast.
Look, some butt rock is good. Some of it is. That was one of the good ones.
Death to all butt metal? No, death to all the butt metal. Yeah, butt metal.
Death to all butt metal.
No, death to all butt metal. That's what I said. Butt metal.
Yes, butt metal. Butt
Sarah
rock,
Silverman's so hot. Never mind.
What?
I love me some Sarah Silverman.
Where'd Sarah Silverman come from?
I just quoted the Steel Panther music video.
I don't know.
Death to all butt metal.
I forgot Sarah Silverman was in that.
She's like the sexy teacher through part of it.
That's right.
Or a principal. But yeah, no, that's like the whole spiel at the end.
Yeah, it's been a while since I watched that music video.
She like said, they're like, it's death to all butt metal. And she's like, yeah, butt metal.
But yeah, that's all I got on 3 Days Grace today.
Yeah, fuck the Goo Goo Dolls. They can suck my balls.
I also have one to do it. But anyway, a band that you actually do like, at least I think you like them, or liked them at one point.
You better quit assuming shit.
Anthrax.
Yeah, they're pretty fun.
God damn it.
I've only seen them like 6 times.
Anthrax has canceled their upcoming European tour again. they were supposed to do a tour run through Europe, which would have included an appearance at the biggest metal festival in the world, Wacken, in Germany. But they've had to cancel due to, quote, logistics issues, which means they didn't have the money for it, essentially. They also canceled last year and for the European tour as well, citing financial issues, with bassist Frank Bello from Anthrax citing that touring costs have tripled from the norm of what they're used to, and said they're fine usually going overseas to do a tour and coming out with a little bit of a loss just to play for fans, but with it being so expensive now, like triple the cost, it just wasn't worth it, and they would have been in the red for a good long time if they did do this tour.
Which is absolutely absurd considering the stature of said band.
Yes, one of the big four. Apparently, can't make enough money to cover a European tour, where they're possibly liked more there than they are in America. I'm not sure with the big four status bands. I know the next four do better in Europe than they do in America, but I assumed that the big four would as well.
I mean, yeah, no, I mean, that shit's huge everywhere.
Yeah. So, like,
I mean,
it's kind of weird that they're not able to make. You think that. I know that there's been a whole lot of talk about bands having trouble with, like, merch cuts and stuff and, like, touring costs in general throughout Europe and in general.
Also, got to think about just bands that are used to taking bigger cuts of the pie in general.
That, too.
So, I mean, if they're just a band that's living up to a certain standard,
feel like Anthrax probably
they might not be able to scale it back down enough to be like, yeah,
because like Anthrax, if they were wanting to play like 1,000 cap rooms, they could do it probably, but they don't want to play 1,000 cap rooms because it looks bad if they were to do that.
Well, see, I don't know if that's necessarily an issue either, because when they've toured the States, I mean, hell, they played at Expo 5 with Testament. Expo 5 was maybe 1,000, maybe 1,500 at the most.
But what year was that?
I mean, this is modern era Anthrax, so I mean, post Belladonna being back in the band.
Yeah, that does seem odd.
I mean, if you look at, there's like a live video from like the first tour when they got back together. It's a pretty clubby spot. So, I mean, they're not necessarily opposed to that either. But, you know, again, it's different when you're a headliner on a tour and dictating expenses when you're just another band on a bunch of festivals. And
yeah, there's probably a lot of moving pieces in the Anthrax camp when they're doing a headlining style tour. A lot of mouths to feed, a lot of people to pay, a lot of traveling expenses.
I was gonna say, you got to think about the staff that ends up getting signed on, that, you know, if they're not playing X size rooms, they don't need X size staff. And I mean, it gets a little more complicated when you're talking like these big bands.
Yeah.
But it is pretty disconcerting when a band on the stature of Anthrax, who's arguably, you know, a top 15 metal band overall all time, on top of being, you know, in the big four.
Yeah.
You know, and they're at least in the top 20. I don't know.
I'm not sure. Like, because like they looking at their streaming numbers, they're kind of like, of course, they're on the upper tier because, like, it's Anthrax.
Yeah.
But still, like, they're not, like, big. Like, as far as their streaming numbers go, they're on the same level of, like, a Trivium or a Lamb of God these days.
Yeah, but, again, with the legacy acts, there's a lot of those old motherfuckers that ain't streaming them either.
That is true.
Because that's one thing I always say, keep in mind. It's like, look how big some of those streaming numbers are, and then think on top of that how many old motherfuckers
that are listening purely record only.
Or, you know, they got more fans that have died than we have that are ever going to live.
Yeah.
So
it's the problem that probably would help their chances if they were able to get this new record that they're working on out anytime soon. But Charlie Benante has already said that the new record won't be out any earlier than beginning of next year, 2024.
And he's probably liking his Pantera paydays too.
Oh, yeah, his Pantera payday is probably quite nice, I'd have to say. So he's probably not overly concerned about this tour getting canceled himself.
See, I would argue that part of the issue might be that too, but you're just not hearing about it.
About like the touring conflicts.
Well, yeah, because I mean, financially, especially with those fucking festivals and stuff, why would he leave to go do Anthrax?
Yeah, with those big.
Because Anthrax has been kind of one of those weird bands that like they don't particularly like each other a whole lot.
Yeah, it seems like there's.
I don't want to speculate on all of them.
I do know that,
but Joey and the rest.
Joey is definitely not
like
fully,
the outside loner cut type. Yeah,
like I remember a few years back. Like, it was around the time that For All Kings, their last album in 2016 came out. Joey Belladonna said that he's somewhat satisfied with his position in Anthrax currently, which he's not exactly enthusiastic about it, but he's there. Which you'd wish he'd be like fully happy, but at least he's sticking around and doing the songs.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like I said, I'd like to read. I mean, I think you could read more into it than just saying, "Oh, financial issues." Because, like I said, again, if Charlie's making as much money as he can on these Pantera gigs, and it's not going to be as lucrative.
Yeah, that's not going to be.
And it sounds like Scott Ian didn't do enough VH1 specials back in the day to be loaded forever.
Oh, yeah. I knew about Scott Ian from those VH1 specials before I ever listened to a note of Anthrax before. Because I just remember, like, who the hell's this bald dude with this, like, dyed red beard? That's on
I
all
would
these
say
shows.
it's probably 70% of this generation anyways.
Possibly. I mean, heck, same thing with Ozzy. Like, the Osbournes TV show, like, introduced him to a whole lot of people, too.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I learned about him.
Yeah.
I did hear, of course, I heard, like, Crazy Train before, but outside of Crazy Train and Iron Man.
Yeah, but, I mean, that could have been the first time people put the face to the name.
That is true. Yeah, because
If
you
you're
probably
talking
heard on
about
the radio.
just mainstream, it's like I said, mainstream's a completely different ballgame.
Speaking of which, this is something I had on the docket, but speaking of the Osbournes, Jack got Ozzy's son, Jack Osbourne, celebrating 20 years of sobriety. Woo! So congrats to him.
Somebody in the Osbourne family can do it.
Yes. I was like, yeah, it's probably for the best if you get sober now. Because, like,
I mean, he's clearly seen it play out.
yes. He's seen what his possible future could
there
be.
ain't nobody that ain't seen that play out, so...
But kudos to him for like his success and his sobriety on that one.
I'll work on 20 minutes.
20 minutes. You can stand a little bit more sober for a little longer.
Yeah.
Not too much longer.
We'll get to like...
It hasn't become... We haven't had the
We'll work on 20 hours.
We haven't had to do intervention talk with you yet, so we're going good so far.
Well... Never say never.
Never say never. It's if our band ever gets successful, that might be starting the time to worry. But last thing on the news part of the docket here we got here is an old fan favorite musician here, Jason Newsted, is reuniting his solo metal band called Newsted, playing their first show in over 10 years. His metal band Newsted was active between 2012 and 2014 and was a 4-piece band that had 2 releases, an EP that was simply titled Metal and an album that was simply titled Heavy Metal Music. Such creativity there.
It's like when they looked at my dad and they were like, "Hey, Dave, what are you naming this bastard?" Like, I don't know, Dave. So,
if it ain't broke, don't fix it, as they say.
What are we going to call this band? Langley?
Well, like, because I remember just like, he doesn't have a Jason Newsted, as loved as he is, doesn't quite have a name that you would just associate with like metal, like Van Halen. That's a cool name. But Newsted, I thought it was going to be some acoustic-y shit, so I learned it was a metal band.
Maybe that's the diversion.
But I listened to a little bit of like the heavy metal album from Newsted. It was pretty solid stuff, just straightforward metal.
Yeah, I don't remember it being super impressive. But
it wasn't overly impressive. It was
solid.
Fun. It was fun. Like his voice, had some solid riffs on there. The show that they're coming back is going to happen on May 12th at Revolution Live in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He says he's working on a number of other projects. He has like a hard rock project that he's also working on, and when he gets done with that, going back in full force into working on his Newsted metal band. Said he's been working with some real quality musicians, getting back into getting drummer with some double bass drumming going on with his new shit. There's no confirmation of whether he's going to record new music with Newsted as well. But he's at least going to be playing live again, which is pretty cool for fans of Jason Newsted and that project.
Just breaking. He's probably going to whine about being in Metallica at some point soon, too.
No, actually, he's been giving a lot of praise to Metallica and said their new album was solid.
I said sometime soon.
Sometime soon. But he said
it's only a matter of time with any of these motherfuckers, Dante.
He said that he couldn't be prouder of his former bandmates as far as their current success.
Dave Mustaine was good for about 20 minutes, too.
Speaking of success.
And now he's back on that fucking wine wagon.
He was interviewed a lot.
No goodbye, no second chance, no nothing.
I mean, for his like, he was interviewed a lot for his for the album cycle for their last album, The Good, The Dead, the last album that came out with the Sick, The Dying, and The Dead. That's
with
what
the shitty art that they didn't pay for.
Yeah, yeah. We did a whole story on that on the previous episode.
I didn't talk about how shitty the art was then. But.
Yeah, it's okay. It's got Rattlehead on it. It's all I need. It's not the greatest artwork in the world.
And some stank pussy ass art.
I'm not diving to get the vinyl like real Ricky Tick, but it works.
It's better than have a baby cradle on your goddamn metal album cover.
But speaking of news, this also isn't on the docket, but speaking of Metallica, this is something that just was announced either yesterday or the day before. Metallica's new album, 72 Seasons, first time that it didn't hit number one since the 1985 or whatever Injustice came out. 88, I think it was.
88 or 89.
It was 88. That's what it was.
I'd say because 85, you're like,
yeah, that's pre.
You're going like,
Master Puppet. Yeah, but the last time they had an album that didn't hit number one was Injustice for All. And so 72 Seasons. That's quite given on one side. The biggest metal band in the world didn't hit number one. That's something that's like a little bit saddening, but to have it be the first time in it's longer than we've been alive, pretty impressive that every album they've had since then hit number one.
Yeah.
But to put a little bit more poo-poo on the fact that it hit number one, do you know who actually was the number one, who they couldn't beat?
It's supposed to be a rock band?
Nope. This is Billboard 200 of everybody.
Oh shit. Who put something out?
Morgan fucking Wallen, the country singer, who got really famous for dropping the N-bomb in public. That's who beat them to number one.
And people got so mad at me like on Facebook because I was like, if you're going to fucking Rupp Arena, because he's the only person I've ever seen play more than one night in a row at Rupp Arena.
Oh, he did a double night?
Oh, I think he ended up doing 3 maybe. And then sold them all out.
I know this is Kentucky, but shit. I know Garth Brooks did, what, 4?
Well, I'm just saying, there's not a lot of people that can do that here. And it's just fucking hilarious. Not hilarious. It's just, I hate white ass Lexington. That this dude gets blown up famous for dropping the N-bomb super loud in a neighborhood. Like, again, if it's in his fucking living room, maybe a little more fucking forgiving, but he's out in the middle of the goddamn street in a neighborhood. It's like anybody, it's like, oh, well, he wasn't saying it towards anybody. It's like he's saying it towards everybody.
Yeah, like, I don't remember what the context of him saying it was, but I do think it's a little sad that he got popular
somebody's
for
door camera caught it. So, but that's how loud he is out in the fucking middle of the road screaming the N-word.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, and I'm just like, oh, this motherfucker gets to sell out Rupp 2 or 3 days in a row.
Dropping
like,
N-bomb,
nobody
get
else
famous.
fucking get to do that shit. But like this dude, the one guy that we're like, yeah, let's just fucking give him all of our money, is the guy that got famous for dropping the N-bomb.
I say, like, I never heard of Morgan Wallen until the N-word thing happened, and now I can't not hear his name anywhere.
I know, and it's always some fucking attractive ass chick from nowhere, Kentucky.
Oh, gotta love who we like to give our money to
it's
around
like,
here.
God damn it, I have not many choices around here as it is, and y'all, you Morgan Wallen bitches, are making it even harder.
Jesus Christ. Make sure you start speaking into the mic. Yeah, there we go. You hear the full voice.
But yeah, I mean, hey, I ain't worried about Metallica not going to number one.
I'd say we'll get into that, but I'd say it's not the most deserving one. But speaking of the news, that is the last one on the straight up news docket. So let's get into the next section of the podcast, the heavy music singles. And we have a diverse slew of new singles that were released this past week.
Oh, fucking poopy Friday. Soup.
There's some poopy soup. There's some solid stuff in here. There's a mixture, I would say.
Mean, there could be like good carrots in a soup, but the soup be ass. Okay.
But the first one of the singles also kind of doubles as a news story of sorts. A new supergroup has been formed. The band is called Better Lovers, and they've just released their very first song called 30 Under 13. This band features Greg Puciato on vocals, best known from Dillinger Escape Plan, Jordan Buckley, guitarist for Every Time I Die, and Will Putney, who is both producing and playing guitar, who is known to be from Fit for an Autopsy, as well as producing some quality records for the likes of the Acacia Strain, Body Count, and many, many others in the modern metalcore and hardcore and deathcore worlds. They did say that they do have an album on the way, and they have a slew of tours planned for this upcoming year. Currently, they are about to go on tour with Underoath, The Ghosts Inside, and We Came as Romans starting July, and also playing this year's Furnace Fest down in Alabama. But this song, this one, 30 Under 13.
So much Alabama on this episode.
Yeah, I don't know why Alabama's getting featured so much right now. But, yeah, that's...
Can't wait to hear about that festival 3 days after it happens.
Oh, boy. But, yeah, 30 Under 13, first song from Better Lovers. What did you think of this song, David?
It was, well, I hated it on first listen. And at second listen, I hated it a lot less.
It's positivity.
Well, so like I knew after our whole thing with I needed to listen to Dillinger for this podcast eventually.
We will get to that, folks. We will get there.
Your I'm Nostradamus bullshit you had in our group chat about the guy that's in 4 different bands that he's joined as a super group guy.
Hey, don't underplay, because like right when
happened to join yet another one, and you just happened to say something about it.
Hey, like I said, like I had a prophecy with this shit, like because first thing when Every Time I Die broke up, and the other members outside of Keith Buckley, their vocalist, said they were going to continue doing music. I said the perfect replacement vocals for them would be Greg Puciato, because he has that similar mixture of being able to do screen vocals and very strong melodic vocals.
Well, they didn't replace him; they just made a whole new band.
They made a whole new band, yes, but he is working with Jordan Buckley of Every Time I Die.
See, Nostradamus, you didn't predict that, now did you?
Well, I didn't predict that Jordan would be the only Every Time I Die member with this new project, but
I'm just saying Dante had a hard God complex going when this shit came out.
I fucking predicted Jordan Buckley and Greg Puciato working together.
Glad you got that one thing, man.
Hey, like, because I said, like, he'd be the perfect vocalist to work with them, and Jordan Buckley reached out with some tracks to Greg Puciato. He rekindled his interest in doing some heavy, mathy, like, aggressive shit. And now they have this band, Better Lovers. And even better, part I didn't predict, which is just a nice little carrot on top, is Will Putney being involved. So the production's going to be top notch.
Yeah, and bouncy riffs, maybe bounce, and some of the genre trope stuff, I kind of was like, eh.
I do like the little,
the horror chords and the breakdowns. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Little panic chord things.
But it's a solid song. Like I said, when I went back and listened to it on the way over, because like I said, I was given a couple last listens, and that one came out a lot more positive on my second listen than the first. So
I like the little thrashy punk like midsection they got in there.
Yeah, no, it goes, man. It's a good song.
It goes like I almost want to go to this Underoath tour just to see Better Lovers, but I don't like Underoath that much to pay the ticket prices they charge for that shit. Because Underoath, Ghost Inside, and We Came as Romans are all bands that I are okay about. I like a song, like the song here and there from each of the bands. Not enough to go see any of them live, and even all 3 of them together. Not really too hype on going to see them.
I came in ramen once too.
We Came in Romans is my favorite one out of those 3. More so when they had their original melodic vocals, who sadly passed away some years back.
Yeah, I don't know shit about none of them.
Yeah, this is very deep in the post-hardcore metalcore world for David's taste.
I knew I had to hate Underoath as a child. That's all I know.
Underoath, they're out, after that, like, We're Only Chasing Safety album, which was around when we were kids, they got way better after that. Like, after that, they stopped with the emo bullshit and did some, like,
when they quit lying about being a Christian band?
Well, no, they didn't do that till their 2020 album that came out.
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah,
everybody admitted to lying about it eventually.
They disbanded for a while, and then they said they're like, yo, like, Christianity's like kind of hypocritical and judgmental, so we're not a Christian band anymore. So,
nobody had a problem with it when they were banking on it.
Yeah, that was a good cash cow back in the early to mid 2000s.
Yeah, I'm not very. Yeah.
But
I saw through all that shit back then, and I had to live with it every fucking day of my life.
That's joy. But 30 under 13 from Better Lovers. I am very, very excited. I got a giant raging boner for some more Better Lovers for to hear what they come out with next. I'm curious to see what they do across the musical spectrum there.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. If they expand upon it, I'll be all right with it.
There's sure to be like, if it's anything like Every Time I Died stuff, there's gonna be some like straight up melodic tracks mixed in there too. Some more either weird wonky shit. It's gonna be exciting. Next on the docket, Foo Fighters have released the first single since the passing of Taylor Hawkins, with their new song called Rescued. It's from their upcoming album titled But Here We Are, that is coming out on June 2nd. What'd you feel on this Foo Fighters track there?
Well, other than I was worried about how on the nose everything was going to be.
Yeah, I was looking for that too.
And there was a fair amount of it. But at the same time, there was actually some neat progressions. Like, they kind of do this thing where it's like, it seems like whether they should be going into the hook, but then like they go into this minor sounding thing. And they do it twice. And it's super neat. And it's just like those little details that make a generally straightforward rock band like Foo Fighters work so well, is that they just have these little nuanced things that they do, and they get just the experience in music and how much Dave Grohl's done, and clearly what he can do on all sorts of different projects that we've heard over the years.
Yes, he has a very diverse palette and skill set.
So like this song, at first I was like, man, it's gonna be too on the nose, and like I said, it kind of gave me some of that, and then I was like, maybe it'll be. Thinking it might have been just kind of cheesy. Who knows?
It was a little bit cheesy. I mean, Foo Fighters has a tendency to be cheesy. I mean,
but my point, once it got going, I mean, it was like classic Foo Fighters essentially. Like I said, I ended up really liking it. It took me aback a little bit, but after on the second listen too, and just giving it a full attention to, like I said, I wanted to dislike it more. Well, I didn't want to dislike it, but like I said, first listen, I was like, all right, yeah, it's okay. But the second listen, like I said, kind of listens to nuance on how they did some of the chord change stuff, and it's a neat song. It's actually a neat song with a, like I said, pretty straightforward premise, and like I said, some pretty on the nose lyrics. But I definitely recommend it. I mean, Foo Fighters are never bad, so.
Yeah, Foo Fighters doesn't really have anything that's outright poo-poo.
Their floor is really high.
Yeah, like the first listens to this one, like I thought it was like it's kind of like generic Foo Fighters, but generic Foo Fighters is better than most of the radio rock you're gonna hear around.
Yeah, they at least have like a very distinct identity.
Yeah, and like it's one that like if I heard it come pop up on the radio or just heard it out in the wild somewhere, it's not one that like I would hate hearing. It's not like the best thing they've ever done, but it is a solid track for them.
A lot of newer Foo Fighters grows on me too.
Yeah, I feel like
there's a lot of it I don't like at first.
Yeah, they don't have the instantaneous hook nature of some of the earlier material, I'd say. But, like, their newer ones are growers, like, I'd say. Like, usually I'm kind of, like, blah on a lot of the newer stuff, but after I give it more of a chance.
Well, they're never going to break any fucking ground on you,
That is true.
But
they have a lot of material out there.
But generally speaking, yeah, no, like I said, and Foo Fighters was a band I came around to pretty recently as far as being like, fuck yeah, they're actually...
We're just at that age where like
good.
dad rock is like now enjoyable.
Well, certain bits of it. I mean, like I said, there's a difference between good shit and just shit that's out there making money.
Yeah.
Foo Fighters to me doesn't feel like a big old cash grab all the time.
Yeah, they sound like they care still, which is the important thing.
Yeah, and like I said, it was on the nose, but not too goddamn corny about it. So
yes. But there's definitely going to be some more singles coming up from them between now and the release of the album in June. So be on the lookout for that. Moving on to a more modern band that's been out here. The Spirit Box has released a new single titled The Void. There's no confirmation of a new album quite yet, but something special with this is that this is their first single with their new bassist, who many people will remember from the band As I Lay Dying, Josh Gilbert, who was the bassist and melodic vocalist from that band, and he features backing vocals on the track, and he does perform backing vocals with the band live. Only time will tell if they let him do some lead style vocals, because if they don't, it'd be really a waste if they don't use his vocals like more. But yeah, The Void. What I've seen some mixed things on this track from people online. What did you think of this one?
Well, so I won't overly lie. This is probably my intro. Like I paying attention to what the fuck I'm listening to intro to Spirit Box. Because I mean, I've heard some things here and there. And part of me, and this is, we're going to talk about another band we've talked about quite a bit.
Oh, joy.
It's the modern pop qualities that are bleeding over into the modern metal. Because pop sensibilities always bleed into all the other styles of music, whether it's production or just whatever. Like what makes songs popular in the 80s and what made songs popular in the 90s. Like the pop songs, there's a little bit of bleed over somehow. And it might not be as subtle as, or it might not be as obvious as some things, but like there's a lot of subtleties to it. Because I mean, I'm just thinking back to like how drummers played drums in the early 80s before, you know, like double kick really got integrated and like speed started getting emphasized. Like there's a lot of Judas Priest songs with like disco beats in them.
Yeah, there was a lot of that.
So like, but that's what I'm saying. Like pop sensibilities exist throughout music history, no matter like nobody can really avoid it.
Oh yeah.
Because it's the shit that everybody's hearing, everybody's listening to.
A lot of the biggest metal bands like sneak it in the creative way.
And any band that gets in business-wise starts having to pay attention to it.
Yeah.
Like once the money starts rolling around, people that make money, that recorded these albums, you know, like, you know, pop producers that do heavy albums and stuff like that. So, and this isn't so much about the overall song, it's just like the little fucking flourishes and like pop pieces that go into it. Like, I get out of that I'm even listening to a metal entity, even though, like, what I'm hearing guitar-wise and, like, when it's going, it is heavy. It's heavy as fuck. But it's, like, the production, the modern, what is pop metal production. Because, again, like I said, I don't think it's necessarily a purposeful thing. I don't know who produced this.
I don't know who produced this one. I looked it up.
But I'd be really curious if they have any fucking credits beyond, like, you know, rock and metal bands. Because, like I said, it's just like a lot of the little stuff in the songs. And like I said, we'll talk about the other band that I'm clearly so fond of. I didn't hate the song, but it's just the modern pop influence on some of these modern metal bands that, like I said, I would say are playing more of the poppier style of metal. Said that kind of production just does not do good for me. A lot of it's super thin, or it's thick, but it's that compressed thick, so it sounds kind of artificial. I don't know.
The thing with Spirit Box, like, so they're like basically. Spirit Box comes out of like the metalcore world, of course. And the thing with a lot of metalcore, which has made it a little bit of a stale genre for a lot of people, is the production, because a lot of people are using the same type of plugins, same type of same type of guitars. It has this real electronic heavy production style, even though they're using guitars and all that. And it's made it pretty stale. But something that I like that Spirit Box has done, particularly on their last EP they released a year or two ago, the Rotoscope EP, is that they've started leaning more musically into like industrial and electronica, like a lot of disco beats on purpose type of stuff that blends the pop in with their metal. And I feel like that makes it sound a lot more palatable and like better, actually, because they're making a musical style that fits the production style a lot more. Because basically, if you're trying to do like a straight up metal band, but you're doing all this like modern style production that's like better fit for pop, it winds up being a clash. But if you're going into a pop metal direction, it makes it sound better because it's not as not much of a sonic clash as like you would have with trying to be heavy with all this over production, high level production stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just. Because, like, again, it's me really trying to get underneath the fingernails and figure out what is it about the modern sound instead of just being the old man that's waving my fists at the cloud. Because again, I'm realizing that pop sensibility has existed. I mean, like I said, just listen to snare drum sounds on all the 80s. or just like what Rush did when they went from more of a rock band to a synth rock type deal,
Yeah. Like, I'm looking up the producer, actually, Dan Bronstein, and his production history. He's produced all the rest of Spirit Box's stuff as well as basically all the other modern metalcore bands. Dayseeker, Volumes, he's done Silverstein, basically Silent Planet, basically a lot of the modern metalcore stuff he's done.
So that's just his wheelhouse. I got you. I just wouldn't have been surprised if he had pop credits too.
Yeah, I was trying to find if he did any pop credits, but he doesn't have any.
But again, like I said, it's not that I'm sitting here trying to hate on that. It's just maybe because I'm living in it, and I think a lot of pop music kind of endears itself later. Like,
but this one, I say that like,
so when you're living in the moment and you're hearing those songs every fucking day against your will, like you're at the gas station and Poker Face is on, and then you're in your car and Poker Face is on, and you're in the elevator and Poker Face is on, and like you're at the bar and
where it's like smacking you over the head where you can't escape it.
Yeah, and then like all of a sudden for like 10 months you don't hear it because it's not new anymore, and then all of a sudden like you just randomly hear it on the radio and like, oh, this is actually a dope ass song. I don't think Lady Gaga is the worst person that ever fucking lived on the planet. And that's usually how I am with pop music. I will say that like
when you're getting it beat over your head, it makes it less enjoyable.
Once you get removed from, because like even then it's like some of these people when they put out new stuff and then that gets beat over my head, it's like God. but just generally speaking, like it's like we look back on the late 90s or early 2000s boy band and Christina Aguilera's and Britney Spears. It's like our entire generation's endeared to those songs.
Yes.
No matter who you are.
Yeah, like I just do enjoy me some Toxic.
If you hear fucking I Want It That Way come on at a metal show, I guarantee you have to cry.
Oh yeah, the crowd singing that.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It's like I'm just realizing that maybe the modern pop sensibility with metal as of right now, I'm hopeful that it will grow on me eventually. Like I said, I just think it's living in the moment of it, and I'm just like, okay, I'm not so sure. I will
say that Spirit Box took a bit to grow on me as well. Essentially, like I kind of like got into them same way that a lot of people got into them, which was in 2020 through their Holy Roller song, which that one was kind of a bait and switch for a lot of people when they started making more tracks. At the time of like Holy Roller, they had maybe about 3 tracks total out at the time. And after like, and Holy Roller is like a straight up, no melodic vocals, all screamy, heavy, like groovy metalcore song. Yeah. Basically borderline deathcore even. But then they came out with like their EPs and all the full album of Eternal Blue, which had more of this post-hardcore sensibility, the pop sensibilities, and all that. And a lot of people stuck around, but a lot of the fans that came here for Holy Roller heaviness were like turned away.
Deuced out, yeah. Yeah, like I said, I know that they're another band that's on the hype wagon, and I've talked about how I feel about a lot of hype wagons on here. So just be patient. Be patient with me, even though there's one of those hype wagons we're going to talk about again.
I'm not sure if Spirit Box is a band that you would really get into eventually. I do enjoy them. It took me a bit to get into them. This song in particular,
I'm not dumping them in the trash yet. Like I said, there was enjoyable parts to the song.
They're just kind of teetering on the edge.
It's just like I said. I think I'm really just trying to dive into and evaluate why. I don't want to just like with the new bands, especially. I don't want to just hate and just not have like anything to back up what I'm hating on. Like
that is true.
I'm trying to have well thought out thoughts as to like what my problem is with it, and if I can work through them, I want to.
I would say I do enjoy this track, but it feels like this isn't the strongest track they've made. It feels more like an Eternal Blue B-side. But it is enjoyable still. It's something that like I'm not going to hate hearing when I hear it played. But yeah, Spirit Box, The Void.
Can't say that about this next one.
Yeah, Spirit Box, The Void, that's it for that one. This next one, we've mentioned him a little like in passing earlier, but
Aaron Lewis is a douche chode.
Yeah, guess who's back?
Aaron Lewis is a wank pheasant.
Stained has returned.
Aaron Lewis is a goddamn peckerhead.
I fully agree with every one of those statements. Stain's newest song, Lowest in Me. I think this is the first single they've released since...
Aaron Lewis wishes he was a ward on Kid Rock's ass.
I think it was 2009, 10. I didn't bother to look up when their last album was. That's bad reporting on my end. But I do know they are currently on tour.
They don't deserve good reporting. Fuck Aaron Lewis.
They're on tour with Godsmack right now, either right now or soon. I forget when.
No, Aaron Lewis is standing around.
Oh, no, it's in July.
Godsmack.
It's in July when they're doing that.
Aaron Lewis is standing around being a lazy prick on stage with Godsmack.
They haven't officially announced a new album yet, but there's rumors that there is going to be a full album coming out soon.
I heard the news got lost in Alabama.
Oh, Alabama. But Lowest in Me, I think you've already made your thoughts known about what this track's going to be.
Aaron Lewis is the lowest in me. Yes, indeed.
Oh, shit. Yeah. Lowest in Me. Do you have any deeper critique of this
Fuck
track?
Aaron Lewis.
I say fuck Aaron Lewis as well, but the song for what it is actually pretty solid.
Fuck you, Dante.
Out of the butt rock everything, I fucking hate Aaron Lewis. Aaron Lewis is a giant douche toad. He's can go suck Trump's ass for that he wants to do and all that. But for what he does, when he's withstanding, I don't know about his country shit. I haven't listened to that. It's probably poo-poo water. But as far as if you enjoyed Stained stuff in the past, the heavier side of Stained, then this is something that you may also find enjoyable if you can get past the point that Aaron Lewis is a giant douche canoe. It has solid riffs. It's got decent enough production on it. He still has the whiny voice that if you hate Aaron Lewis's voice, you're not gonna like it anymore on this track.
I'd rather shit in some white tighty whities and live with that Stained instead of this Stained.
Oh god. Yeah, but if you've liked Stained in the past, you
Kill
will probably
yourself.
This song. Basically the song isn't gonna change your mind. On your opinion of Stained. But if you enjoy Stained, you will enjoy this one.
I think I'm infertile after listening to it.
This track, I enjoyed the riffage. Mike Mushak is a solid guitarist for this alternative metal style of music that he does. I think he also might be the guitarist that's working with Adam Gonte in Saint Asonia, actually, now that I think about it.
San Antonio got some big old women, Kenny.
But yeah, Lowest in Me is not going to change your mind on your opinion of Stained. If you like them, you'll like this. If you don't like them, you're not going to like this still.
I'd rather eat Raisin Bran every morning for the rest of my life
David is a man of many
than
quips.
listen to Aaron Lewis.
But yeah.
I'd rather listen to the new Metallica record 800 and more times in a row than see Stained live ever again for one song. Fuck that lazy sack of shit.
I believe David has made his thoughts on this album.
I don't have a microphone. Why are y'all talking over me at my concert?
I'm not sure if you're going to hate this one or the next track more that we have to talk about, because we have two ones that are probably going to be neck and neck for your least favorite of this week.
No, Stained automatically wins. If Stained's going to win anything, it's my bottom bitch award.
Bottom bitch award. Hey, some people like being bottom bitch.
I'm mad I even used the word award and Stained in the same sentence, even though I'm talking about it in a negative connotation.
Oh, man. Well, I think that our thoughts have been made known on Stained and their newest song.
I'd rather clean dog shit off my shoe with my toothbrush and then use it afterwards and listen to Stained again.
This is going to be some quality sound bites later. Jeez. But, yeah, Stained. Next song. A band that if you listen to anything remotely in the rock realm, and possibly
if
even
you've listened to this podcast at all,
David's first episode, he made his thoughts known on his band, and had some hate from his opinions.
And what's great is that opinion almost stands more now after this song put out.
Oh man, this Sleep Token is who we're talking about, by the way, with their new song DYWTYLM. which stands for a phrase that is said in the song, "Do you wish that you loved me?"
No. Well, I'm trying, but your band just increasingly makes it harder and harder.
This is the 6th single released from their upcoming album, Take Me Back to Eden, that is coming out on May 19th. I think this has to be at least half the album now that has been put out in single form, which are taking a very modern approach to the releasing of this record. They had some viral singles that were released back in January, with The Summoning being the biggest of those, which took them from a barely mid-sized level band to fucking arena headliners selling out every fucking where now. Going off Spotify numbers, before their first single of this year came out, they were around the 200,000 mark, and now, last time I checked, they're at 1.8 million on sole Spotify monthly listeners. They're selling out the mid-sized venues that they have everywhere. They really should be playing sheds at this point, but probably looks a lot better to have sold-out venues everywhere. And this newest song isn't even a rock song. It's not a metal song. It's not a rock song. It is full-on, no guitar at all, pop, straight up pop, and this is going to be an acquired taste for the rock fans.
I'll say I'll appreciate it only from the standpoint that it completely is out of left field compared to everything else we've heard so far.
Yes, this one,
but it's not good either.
Similar for
it's not
me,
bad. I mean, I don't know.
For me, it's a similar critique to a lot of the other stuff I heard from. Basically, it's like, I like the ambition of what they're going for, but I don't feel like the pieces are all put together in the best way. The guy has a really good voice. Has a voice made for the style. Vessel is the frontman's stage name. And he definitely has a voice that can work with the style very well. He has that adult contemporary Hozier-esque trying to fuck you with my words type of voice that he has. This is essentially baritone Chino Moreno, essentially.
If I was on a desert island with a gun and the choice of the Stain discography or Sleep Token's little discography, I'd probably shoot the Stain record like 3 times.
Wait, how many bullets?
I'd put on the Sleep Token record and contemplate mortality, and then probably shoot myself.
Sleep Token.
But again, I don't want to hate this that bad.
That sounds like you want to hate this pretty bad.
That's why I was trying to give them one more listen on the island before I shot myself.
God.
But they are on they're on red alert for me as far as finding anything to really sink my teeth into and enjoy truly.
One thing
I don't want to be that way. Again, just because everybody's on that. But it's the same as Spirit Box. Like, I don't want to hate any of what's like the forefront, but here we are, hating the forefront.
These are the bands that are the feature festival headliners in another generation.
But again, if I get 10 years down the road, it might be some really good shit. It's just living in the moment right now. I'm not maybe because the direction's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
All this new music making my hips hurt.
Something I will say, though, that I feel like is pretty cool with the releases that Sleep Token has done so far, which every song being so distinct from each other and trying something a little bit different. Even though they've released at least half the album so far, before the album's even released, it does make me curious about what the rest of the album is going to sound like, because if you've released half a record and all of the tracks are this different, that means that the other half of the album should be, hopefully, just as different going forward. So there's a lot of stuff to dive into when that comes out. We'll surely have to have a full album talk when that album comes out, to David's chagrin, I'm sure. When we have to cover the album as a whole. We got...
Yes. My chagrin is chagrining.
That comes out the week after Vista Riffs, actually, the following Friday.
Oh, so I get to be happy for a few days.
You get to be happy for a week, then on Friday, Take Me Back to Eden comes out.
Good.
And that'll be a kind of a mandatory talk with how big Sleep Token's gotten.
Yeah, I'll go hit up the gun shop. I have no access to an island. Don't worry, y'all.
But yeah, do you wish that you loved me? I'm just going to call it by the full name because saying the acronym is dumb. That song, it's full on pop. It didn't stick with me very much. I had to say so myself. But yeah, it's not changing our opinion of Sleep Token anytime soon. Going on to...
If anything, it makes me like Aaron Lewis less.
Aaron Lewis less.
Because everything makes me like Aaron Lewis less.
Well, joy for that one.
Shit, I think I'd rather listen to Ted Nugent every goddamn day of my life.
Outside of like his classic hits.
I'm sure Aaron Lewis calls fucking Ted Nugent daddy.
Oh, he probably does. Probably loves him some Ted Nugent.
Oh, daddy Nuge.
I listened to Ted Nugent's last record he put out like a year or two ago.
It
wasn't good at all.
I would not imagine.
He put it out just like I just saw that it was on the release list of stuff coming out. I was saying like maybe I'll give it a fair shot. I made it 3 songs and I couldn't do it.
Did not put you in a stranglehold?
It's not. There's no stranglehold shit at all on that record. It's just.
I don't give a fuck. He can be as racist as he wants. Stranglehold's a banger.
I'm sure he said something. I just can't think of anything particularly. I'm sure he said something.
Let's say dumb. Yeah.
I don't know if he said anything. He said a lot of dumb shit, but I don't know if he said anything particularly. I know he likes talking about some like, hey, underage girls are cool.
Oh yeah, I think he married one or some shit.
He had the song 16, or was it 13?
Yeah, but I hate getting into that because fucking like Motorhead's got a song called Jailbait, shit like that. Yeah. But again, different time. I hate doing that shit.
Yeah.
Because again, if I'm fucking the biggest rock star in the history of the world in the late 70s, am I checking IDs? I don't fucking think so. Yeah, if it did, you were responsible enough to be alone and on my bus? Okay, sorry.
Moving on from whole Sleep Token, wait, how do we get from?
I'm just saying, I'm not checking IDs, bro. I'm not checking IDs.
I don't even know how the fuck we went from Sleep Token to Ted Nugent. That was
I was talking about Aaron Lewis again.
That's right.
That fucking ass pheasant.
This next one is from Beartooth with their new single Sunshine. Beartooth is currently on a co-headline tour with Trivium going through America with Archetypes Collide and Malevolence as support. How much do you know about Beartooth there, David?
How much do I know?
Yeah. Have you listened to any Beartooth before and are aware of who they are or anything like that?
If you're around a bear, you're supposed to act real big.
Not the same type of bear. Although Caleb Shomo can be argued to be a bearish man to a degree.
I mean, the song was fun, but also bullshit.
Fun, but bullshit.
I didn't want to like it, but I was like, yeah, this is kind of fun.
Yeah, Beartooth is a band that I've been trying to like Beartooth because they do have a lot of elements that I like. The main man of Beartooth is Caleb Shomo, who you might recognize as being from another band from our youth that you didn't like, I already know, called Attack Attack. He was the keyboardist in Attack Attack, which in the music video with Stick Stickly, very famous for the crabcore thing. He was the keyboardist headbanging in the back. He was the chubby kid in the background, like headbanging back then.
I'm still baffled to this day that the term crabcore is like legit.
Yes, he is partly responsible for the crabcore thing. He was just the keyboardist before Austin Carlisle was the vocals back then.
But at least it was very entertaining.
Yes, but he lost a bunch of weight, got hot, and then started writing songs about alcoholism and depression, but in very melodic, happy hardcore.
It's coming.
Dave
Laving's going to turn 42.
They have 4 albums out. I liked the first and third albums they did. Their second album, they started going really strong into a radio hard rock direction. Until they went to a nice mixture of their hardcore and hard rock with their third album, Disease. But then they released an album about a year or two ago. Possibly. I think he was talking about alcoholism being a disease, though, on that.
He probably got something while he was fucked up one night.
But their last album came out either last year or the year before, and none of that album stuck with me, sadly.
Maybe Beartooth's about a bad blowjob.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, maybe. I don't know where the inspiration for Beartooth came from.
She hit me with that bear jaw. Nip my dick all the shit.
But yeah, Beartooth Sunshine. This track, I think this one's a grower on my end. Like at first listen, I was I like the heavy parts, not so sure about the melodic parts, but then on the more recent listens, it's been, okay, this is actually, I know that fans of the band should love this song. For me personally, it's solid.
It's bullshit.
They're adept enough at like the melodic and the heaviness to make this a pretty solid track. There's no announcement of a new album. I believe this is just a standalone single because they're putting all their merch surrounding just the single track Sunshine. They have a whole lot of yellow t-shirts and yellow logo stuff with their brightly colored logo and yellow and stuff they have for this artwork here. But it is a pretty solid track. I'd say that it is enjoyable enough, though it's not one I'm going to be thinking about within another week or so, I would say. I do like this song more than most of the last Beartooth record they came out with, though. So it sounds like they're back on an upward trajectory, and I'm starting to think that Beartooth is going to be one of those bands that, like, they release an album I like, then they release an album I don't like. They release an album I like, they release an album I don't like. Similar trajectory to Ghost for me. Although I like Ghost overall a whole lot better. Because Ghost had an album I liked, album I didn't like, album I liked, album I liked, didn't like, back and forth type of thing. So we'll see if Beartooth is releasing any more singles this year. If there's any ramp up to a new album that is coming out, though I think it'll be a while because their last album, I feel like it did not come out that long ago.
And don't leave your food out while you go camping.
Because then the bear's going to give you the tooth.
Or Aaron Lewis will start bitching at you.
So.
And nobody wants either one of those.
Nobody needs Bear and Lewis.
Bear Lewis.
We have one more single here for you to talk about. An old one from our high school days, a band. I don't know if you like this band or not from back then, but Bleeding Through. With
this original people?
I don't know who, outside of the singer, I don't know who all is original in the band
Is
left.
the chick keyboard lady the same or no?
Not sure if it's the same one. I don't think it is. I think they got somebody different after a while.
Well, I mean, I was never like super into them back in the day, but they were not offensive either.
Yeah, for those unaware, Bleeding Through was a pioneering band of mixing black metal into hardcore elements.
I actually had it in me to say that this was my favorite until I re-listened to a couple things. Actually,
really.
But I also didn't get the second listen through on this.
Actually looking at this list of singles, I can see that being your favorite one.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give it to the Foo Fighters just because of the cool-ass little... like I said, there's something cool in that song, and I can't quite... I tried to describe it earlier.
We're such good reviewers.
I mean, fuck. We don't know no damn music theory. Things go boom, things go loud. Turn it up. That's my guitar riff right there. I'm gonna tell Anthony to play that at practice next time.
Just static.
Just give me some.
Bleeding Through.
A little heavier though.
A little heavier than that. I need a deep throat, not high throat. But this Bleeding Through's last release was their Rage EP of 3 songs that came out in July of last year. And their last full album was way back in 2018 with Love Will Kill All.
Goddamn, I didn't know they was that recent.
Yeah, like Bleeding Through.
I thought that was the one that dropped off. I mean, if I would have had to guess, like, I would have said like 2012, 2013. But.
There's been some gaps in between their albums. Like they, after a certain point, they switched from being a full-time band to just being part-time. So they're not touring as heavily as they normally would. They're just making a few festival appearances and very short, less than a week runs on their touring plans.
I may have seen them, but I'd have to look through the archives.
That's possible you have. I think they played on like some big festivals, some big tours. They definitely did back in the day.
I think they might have been a year off the Ozfest I went to. I think they might have been like the year before or the year after, but I'd have to look. Like I said, it kind of took me back to that time too. Like it's a pretty standard track that sounds like that.
They kind of have like the early 2000s melodic metalcore sound mixed together with a lot of black metal and symphonic elements, which was not a lot of bands did back in the day. It was like them and what was that one band? Fucking the one with the ninja themes and shit. What's their fucking name? They were like the only band mixing together like symphonic shit with like metalcore.
the ninja themes. You're talking about Winds of Plague?
Winds of Plague, yes.
Samurai?
Samurai. Winds of Plague. On that 2004. What year was that they called? I don't remember. On that 2008 shit.
I saw them at the Karate Building in Nicholasville.
The Karate Building.
And I was scared for my life the whole time.
I'd imagine they probably get real violent.
What time did that come out? I think that was about 2004 or 5.
4. Yeah.
5 sounds about right.
But
6 sounds righter.
But it was basically just those two bands in the metalcore scene that were like trying to do like symphonic shit, which I thought was pretty interesting, mostly because of the vocal styles they used. Because like Bleeding Through had like a symphonic black metal thing mixed in with their metalcore.
Shit. Oh, it's 2008.
I thought it was on that 2008 shit. Yeah, that's what I thought it was. Them and like Winds of Plague, like they were both trying to do symphonic stuff, but they had like straight up like raw, dingy, hardcore style vocalists that were like not stuff you hear. They were not septic flesh or anything of that nature. It was just like kick your neighbor's ass, do a spin kick in their face, but we're gonna put like synthesizers over it. It was quite. The early 2000s was a wild time for heavy music. People were just doing whatever the fuck they wanted in those days. It's like, just put some black metal and keyboards over a metalcore track. Sure, let's do it. And now that's what everybody does. It's like now it's normal.
That's how innovation happens.
Yes, which I don't know how much of these like new crop of bands really give those older bands credit like that for being pioneers of that.
Well, it's all debatable because who'd they get in on? It's like, are you influenced by Meshuggah, or did you get influenced by everybody that was influenced by Meshuggah?
It's like, are you Meshuggah metalcore or are you at the gates metalcore?
I mean, even if you look at like thrash bands, they usually have like a family tree that stretches back to one of the big four, usually not two of them.
Yeah, like your Havocs came from the Megadeths, your Warbringers came from the Slayers.
I'll say your Lich Kings and Municipal Waste definitely more Anthraxy.
Definitely more on the Anthrax side of things.
Evil and shit like that, more like Metallica.
Classic Metallica, for sure.
I guess we're getting to that too eventually.
Yeah, that's like the next thing, actually.
Yeah, I'll wait before I go into that opinion.
Yeah, well, we pretty much said all we got about Bleeding Through. I enjoyed this track.
Yeah, it was solid.
It's not like, this is more of like a solid thing. Not the greatest thing I've heard from them, but it is. I always enjoy Bleeding Through when I hear them, and it's cool that they're still being active to a degree all these years later.
I'll give it the silver medal of the week, I think.
Silver medal. So your number one, you're saying that one was the Foo Fighters?
Yeah, like I said, there's just something about the chord switches, and like I said, the way it kind of goes from what sounds like going to be kind of like a kind of upbeat chorus type thing that goes into a little more of a dreary type thing.
Yeah. They have like a mixture of the upbeat vibes with the sad vibes on that one.
Yeah. And I hate saying it because it's the Foo Fighters and it's not like they need the rub.
Good old rub.
But I'll give my gold, silver, and bronze. I'll give Better Lovers the bronze there. Actually, you know what? I'll give Better Lovers fucking silver. We'll drop Bleeding Through to the bronze.
Okay, I believe there's the bronze. So that my number one gold for this week, far and away, is Better Lovers. I've been listening to 30 Under 13 so many times since that came out. I was so excited when I saw that news drop, and I immediately listened to that song. I've listened to it at least like 20 times this past week since it came out. It's exactly what I wanted from this mixture of musicians, for sure. I'm super excited about what else they're going to do. So that's like really high, but almost good enough to make me want to go see Under Oath just to see Better Lovers open up for them. But as far as like a silver and bronze for doing that now, because we do have a decent number of singles this week, if I'm going to give a silver, okay, this isn't actually my second favorite track, but I do respect the Foo Fighters track the most because I think objectively that's the best one besides After Better Lovers.
Yeah.
Because given it's like what Foo Fighters is known for doing and what they're good at, but what they're good at is better than 90% of the bands out there half the time for like each one doing their own thing.
Foo's got their shit down.
The Foos definitely have the shit down. And for a bronze, I almost want to give it the Beartooth, but
It's not a bad one.
yeah, like Beartooth. Yeah, the Beartooth's not trying to want.
Beartooth's gonna be right out my
Yeah.
3, but I mean by a fair amount.
I feel like I enjoy. That's one. I think the more I listen to that track, the more it's gonna grow on me, and I'm gonna like more. It has a mixture of things I like. I thought about giving it the Spirit Box, but Spirit Box has done way better than the Void.
And Sleep Token and Stained are rubbing dicks on the bottom, but Aaron Lewis is bottom bitch.
Aaron Lewis is definitely bottom, but
And,
Vessel is just sticking his big old vessel into Aaron Lewis's rear end.
And like I said, Spirit Box, I'd like to give more of a shot. Hey, just all in all.
Since I know like that Rotoscope EP from like last year was like phenomenal. Well, okay, maybe phenomenal is too strong a word, but I did enjoy it a whole lot. It made me very excited for the future of what they're going to bring.
I'd say if you're hyping something up to me, it's like it kind of sucks, but check it out.
Yeah, Spirit Box, like basically when they have a full record come out, especially with Josh Gilbert with them now, because that's a huge get. That's such a huge fucking get. Like the guy that sang on some of the biggest metalcore choruses, like that are well known today, is in their band with another awesome vocalist in Courtney LaPlante. So I want to hear some back and forth. I want to hear some harmonies between those two. They need to utilize him to the full extent because that's quite the talent to get. It's almost like a supergroup in itself. Supergroup in a band that's just established. But yeah, very excited for that one. But before
I can't wait for my audition to join Stained.
But before we go, we still have a very important thing to cover. I forgot to mention this at the start of the episode because I was being too vague with it. I might go back and overdub, say, hey, we're talking about this earlier in the episode. Not this past Friday, but the Friday before, the April 14th, 2 thrash bands released records on the same day. 2 classic thrash bands of high renown. Of course, everybody knows about the biggest metal band in the world, Metallica, releasing their album 72 Seasons. But on the same day, because they have giant brass balls and a fuck you attitude, Overkill released their 20th album, Scorched, on the same day.
Listen to Fairy Ring.
Fairy Ring, good.
Well, yeah, Weary Traveler. You can buy their album at Walmart.com.
That is not what we're talking about.
But it came out on the same day, and I just was going to shout out the boys.
Also, shout out the Void King as well, who also released on that day.
Shit. Well, and then fuck, I think Wind Rider released their album since we last talked.
Yeah, Wind Rider did release their album.
So props to Wind Rider because I've been jamming the fuck out of that.
Good old Dumas.
Yeah, let's talk about all the good albums. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, we got one of these as a good album.
Yeah, the Overkill. So, like, I ain't gonna lie, I don't have a lot to say about the Overkill. It's pretty goddamn overkilly. And
is like
it's solid as fuck. I mean, it's the same.
I guess we can start with Overkill first.
It's the same level. Well, I mean, it's gonna go together here, whatever. But it's on the same level as all the stuff that they've put out here in the past 15 years.
I say like I don't know if like Overkill. I just need to listen to more of their full discography to get the full vibe of like which records I like more than others. But with this one, this is the most I've enjoyed a record since Me and Green Killing Machine, which I guess is just 2 albums ago,
Yeah.
like from 2017, which I got into Overkill through. I like like for Overkill, I was expecting this to be more bland for the deep cuts, but this whole album actually, this is more engaged than I usually am with a full Overkill album actually. Because they got like a decent amount of variety on this with some quality hooks, and of course they got riffs for days throughout this whole thing.
Oh, Bobby Blitz always going to hit you with some catch.
Yeah. Interesting thing with this new record, 4 of their top 5 songs on Spotify are all from this album. The only one that's still in there is, of course, Elimination at number 4 currently.
Whereas Metallica's got nothing.
Nothing. Like, none of it's cracking the classics that they're under top 5.
Which, again, completely different size bands. But that also does show you the enthusiasm.
Yes, people are a lot more excited.
Overkill brings to old and new fans alike.
Yes.
And that's why it's hard to say too much, because, again, they've maintained such a level standard of being a modern thrash band from the OG days that hasn't really wavered. I mean, they had their 90s records that people didn't like as much, like every thrash band did or whatever.
Everyone went through like a
but
down
even
period
then,
in
I
the
feel
90s.
like some of their shit that like qualifies as that stronger than most of those bands too.
I feel like the most beloved stuff from the 90s might have been Anthrax, especially the Sound of White Noise, and
Well, that's
Crater,
if you can deal with John Bush.
which a lot of people love John Bush.
I'm not. See, I've never been able to get huge on it.
I love me some John Bush.
Oh,
Although I like him more in Armored Saint than in Anthrax.
yeah. And then you're about to say who?
Creator, like their 90s output, I thought was pretty strong.
Testament's pretty strong too.
Yeah, Testament is really, they are up there.
But
They're
again,
up there.
they all had experimental qualities at some point that
Yes.
people were
Which I feel like-
less than on.
I'm getting off topic talking about Testament, but go ahead.
I'll say, let's just talk about every thrash band but the one that we're trying to cover.
Yeah.
Because that's really where
We're a lot more excited for
that's
it.
really where the conversation's going to be at. But yeah, as far as Overkill Records, I'd like to get more listens on it. I probably gave it like 3 or 4, just.
I'll give them a good like 4 or so.
But I haven't
listens.
given it like a car listen or like a sit down with nothing going on listen yet.
You need a car listen for this one.
I've been at work, but
The Surgeon is definitely, it was a lead single, and like basically like the whole song's great, but I just especially like the groove riff they have near the end of it, which is just instantly infectious.
yeah, well, and that's an overkill trope at this point. But again, it's a wondrous
It's a
trope.
beautiful trope.
Yeah, like I said, just a band that has their shit down.
There's that one, and like Wicked Place has like a real nice sinister vibe to it. That was like the other second single from the record, and Fever was one that stood out just because of the tribal vibes on that track.
I'm gonna look to see if I remember anything specific, but I don't know if I'm.
Yeah, Fever starts off with Bobby Blitz not doing his shrill style vocal; he's doing like actual singing, like sing.
When Bobby Blitz does that, it's usually pretty good.
Because like I always like joke around because I could do like a pretty solid Bobby Blitz impression, but then like he does something like Fever, I'm like, oh yeah, he can sing.
Yeah, I can't tell you. I know the album starts on a high fucking note too.
Oh, yeah, Scorched is another big one. They made a video. They released a video for Scorched.
But yeah, no, like I said, I can't tell you a bunch of specifics. It's been on in the background at work.
Yeah, but Scorched, Going Home, and especially The Surgeon, Twisted the Way. Really, this album front to back is like pretty. It's on the upper level of like Overkill albums. I enjoy this one pretty thoroughly, I would say.
Yeah, and like I said, there ain't really been one I haven't enjoyed for a long time. And like I said, I don't know if I can say that I hate any of their albums because again, like I said, a lot of the '90s, like what you would call the experimental stuff, they weren't as bad as other bands that were doing that. So
Yeah.
I guess let's get to the hard part of this conversation, or the easy part of this conversation. I don't know how you want to look at it.
It's like, all right, that's essentially the Overkill. Like, do you want to give a rating for it? Or do you want to wait till both?
It wins.
Well, we know it wins,
yeah,
but if you were to give it a
yeah.
rating out of like 5 or 10,
I mean, I'd give it solid like 7.5, just to not grade it too high because I haven't given it like that thorough listen, but it's
I give it a.
still rock solid fucking Overkill.
I usually rate stuff out of 5, and I would give it a 3.5 out of 5.
3.5 out of 5. So
Yeah, so it's just
about the 7.5.
It's a very enjoyable record.
Almost the ratio.
It'll be like on one of my favorites of the month for sure. Which eventually I've got something I'm planning to do, which I haven't done yet. Is I have a playlist, a Heavy Haystack playlist on Spotify that will be on Spotify, which will have like a lot of the favorite tracks from. I'm going to try both of us, but at least for me of the recent weeks.
If you get Fairy Ring on there, you get Wind Rider on there, I'm all good. Yeah. No.
I was going to judge you stuff we talked about, which I will feature them on the podcast and show sponsors, like if nothing else.
Fuck you, I'm going to talk about them. That's why I'm bringing them up right now. They put out better records than fucking Metallica did, and that's for goddamn sure.
And speaking of Metallica, 72 Seasons, the inescapable,
which may have peaked on the first song on the fucking album.
I still say that Lux Eterna was the best, and then my excitement has just gone down from there. 72 Seasons, the opening title track, I would say is the second best of this record.
Well, in the goddamn, like, all right, so I didn't notice it the first listen because all I noticed was the snare roll. That is the only snare roll, the only drum thing that he fucking seemed to know how to do. But his other
Darkness Out of Sun,
his only other thing that he knows how to do is fucking count. How many times does he just stop playing drums and go,
well,
and then like guitar riff? Like, dude, 72 seasons. When I listened to it earlier, how fucking long is this second shit?
An hour and 17
No,
minutes.
just the song. 7:39. I think I came up with about. I trimmed 4.5 minutes off of it, made it a better song in my head.
Which song?
72 seasons.
Oh, so the opening track.
It's so fucking bloated. And the thing
Yeah,
is,
it's 7 and why is it 7 minutes and 40?
well, yeah, Master of Puppets is 7 minutes long because it has the big epic soaring fucking middle part,
Sure, which
and the build back up.
it
and
justifies its length.
some of the greatest riffs in the history of fucking metal, and like not lazy ass drumming and the whole nine, yada yada. Now this album got long in the tooth by Lux Eterna,
Yeah, like
and there's a whole nother album left of fucking music after Lux Eterna.
like the turn of that one. Basically, when we first had this album announced, they surprise announced it, and Lux Eterna was the first single. I was excited at first because Lux Eterna was a great first foot forward.
Well, and what makes me sad, honestly, about listening to this record is how good James Hetfield is as a rhythmic guitar player with no fucking foundation to write upon. Like, if that's the one thing I'll take, because I tried to listen to it again today. I didn't quite make it through the fucking marathon.
It's a long ass.
But when I'm listening to it, I'm like, fuck, dude. Like, if there was a drummer that had any goddamn imagination, that had any ability to be imaginative, I ain't gonna lie, and this is the first time I've ever fucking thought this. Like, James Hetfield needs to, like, start another band somewhere.
He needs to, but he claims that he gets everything he wants to do in Metallica.
There's no way that he's playing with Lars and going, man, this is great. Because again, it's just like he had two tricks on this entire fucking album. And he probably did those back to back. It's the shitty part.
Yeah, Lars is a very limited drummer, especially for a guy who doesn't even use ride cymbals.
For as much as they fucking practice.
It's like,
They practice before every fucking show, Dante. Like, they have a rehearsal room set up backstage. They practice more than most fucking any band on the planet does. And he is no better at drums than he is.
It's weird. He's had 40
And again,
40 years?
If he supplemented the lack of ability with imagination,
which he used to have.
Yeah.
He used to make the most of his like skill set, limited as it is.
But it's just like when you have a 7.5 minute songs and there's like one drum trick or two drum tricks.
Like he used to get
Like what was the number one thing we say when we have a long repetitive song? Is it's up to you now to make it interesting, Dante.
Yes, you got to make it dynamic.
We make it no bones about it. Like this becomes a drummer song too. And with a song like 72 Seasons, it's 7.5 fucking minutes long. It is on him to make it interesting.
Yes, which is kind of sad because like,
and it's on
Lars is responsible for the arrangements of these things because like that's usually the contribution to the band. That's his good side. But with this album, there's like a lack of any level of self-editing on this at all. Like there was like long songs on like earlier Metallica albums, but they were also 8 songs long of no filler.
And there are parts and riffs again because, like I said, I think the James performance is fucking phenomenal as far as just guitar playing.
I feel like his playing is good, but the riffs themselves are kind of lacking. It's either that or the song's just too long.
But that's what I'm saying, Dante. Like if you have a drummer that has any fucking like wherewithal to evolve those parts, like that's the thing, is like repetition ain't bad if you got.
You do need like a lot more variety to like keep the things interesting.
There's some great songs out there where like one member of the band is doing the exact same thing the entire time.
Yeah.
So it's all about how you construct around that. And I'm just saying, when you got somebody who is arguably the best at a single technique in the world, and he just has a drummer that can't. Because again, think about the technique is based on precision and tightness and all this cool shit. And it's like when I saw a podcast interview with Mario Duplantier that like James asked to jam with him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why didn't he kick Lars out right the fuck right?
And it's like, this is what you could have.
Dude, yeah, he's like, well, all right, sorry, Lars.
I really want to like. Do they have like their jam session available?
I don't think it's available anywhere. But
I would love
Mario
to hear.
talks about it because Mario was kind of freaked out by it. He's like,
oh god, it's James Hetfield.
Yeah, like what if I fuck up? Because
like,
whatever.
You're good, bro.
but yeah, and he got to play on Lars' kit, which is even cooler. Whatever.
It's like, where's the right symbol?
But I just. That's the thing, man. It's just like I hear what James is doing, and it's like, And even then, like he's the vocal parts that are written aren't great. His performance is pretty okay. Like I think he's got just as much juice as he's had.
I feel like his vocal ability is still there, but like as far as the writing, outside of Lux Eterna and 72 Seasons, I do like the Wrath of Man line as a hook for 72 Seasons.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. That's probably the best song on the album, but you could have trimmed 4 minutes off of it.
Yeah, if they cut each one of these songs in half, this might be a much more enjoyable album, just for the sake of like the length being so long.
Well, because like I said, there are good riffs and there are good parts, but it's just like after you hear the same good riffs and the same good part, like for the fourth time, and you heard every good riff, like there's just nothing to the songwriting that's like takes it next level. And again, if this came out around the time Death Magnetic came out, this would have been everybody like, oh, Metallica's back.
Yeah, I think
the subjectivity of having them be back, and I say that in quotation marks because I've never really truly thought it as far as them being back, but as far as them playing thrashier, heavier material, this is like the direction you want them to be.
Yeah,
but the execution is so fucking lackluster and poor and long and drawn out and tired that it's like I said, there's a lot of aspects there that you want in what you would consider to be good Metallica. Because again, James,
so much fluff.
Yeah,
with this album, like I think that. There's like potential here. Like it's interesting to hear if we could hear like a re-edited version where the songs are cut down a lot shorter.
And their last song's like 13 minutes, and there's nothing in the fucking song that makes it into an epic.
Yeah, because like I heard, I've seen online a lot of people were talking about the final track, Inamorta, as it was like, oh, this is like the highlight of the record, and I'm like, I'm not hearing what the highlight y'all are talking about here.
No,
it's like 13 minutes on its own.
I looked down at like the 7-8 minute mark and I was like, there's fucking another song left on the song.
Like I shouldn't be checking my watch like as much as I am on this record.
It's the same problem Senjutsu had.
Senjutsu did have that problem.
Same problem fucking Hush and Grim had.
Yeah, there was a lack of editing there.
Too damn long. And
I say that like with Hush and Grim, there was a lot, on re-listens I found they have there's a slew of wonderful moments on that record, but it's just too long. There's too many songs.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Any parts of this that's good, like if it was a 40-minute record, I'd probably honestly give it like a 7 or 8. But where they stretched out every idea they had over the course of an hour 20.
Yeah, like I struggle I give this like a 2 out of 5.
Yeah.
Because like if the length of this record, there's basically they are given. This isn't like a thrashy thrash record. Which Metallica doesn't have to do thrashy thrash.
It could be. That's the thing. The drummer fucks up so much. Because again, James is going. There are some riffs that are just fucking. There's just no juice.
But something I will say, like, I do like James' playing may be good, but the production on this record feels flat to me.
Oh, I bitched about that already.
Yeah, like I feel like the guitars are lacking in bite on this thing, and everything sounds really smushy. Whereas like nothing sounds like it has punch to it. Even the drums, like it's like the Lars style production where like he has a simple style, so they make everything kind of punchy. But the smushy guitars and like it doesn't have the bite that an album should have, even on the thrashy tracks like a Lux Eterna or 72.
So my grade was about 5 out of 10, so that'd be 2.5 out of 5.
Yeah, that'd be 2.5
if you're gonna. Whatever.
For like straight up average.
I guess we'll come with the actual scale eventually. And
I guess we should just either agree one. I usually use 5s, but like we can.
I just feel like with the 10, you got a little more flexibility to grade, like more accurate. When you do 5, like I feel like you jib somebody half or give somebody half too much credit every time. Like just my general rule, like because I saw a lot of like Revolver like on the 5-star scale, and they like give something like 2.5 stars. That I thought was great. Or they give something like 4.5 stars, or 3.5. That I was like, this is fucking rubbish. So I always felt like it was like 0.5 off. So I always extended out this 10 just because, like I said, when you do the 0.5s or whatever. But like I said, if I did it on 10 scale, and like I said, you cut 40 minutes off. That's the fucking thing.
So much.
You cut 40 minutes off. It's a 40-minute fucking record.
That would be
that is bad shit insane to even say.
But yeah, that is Lux Eterna. It's not Personally, I like Saint Anger better than this record.
You cut a album off this album, it's the length of an album.
It says like they said the last album was a double album, but they didn't say this one was a double album. But it's the length of a double album. It makes no sense.
So I don't know why the metal fucking giants in the era that singles and condensing and like being a little more straightforward, and maybe it's the fuck you to that, to be like, oh no, you can do long form shit. It's like, nah, dog. Like, For Mars the Sirius is a fucking masterpiece. It's right at an hour. Anything longer than that would have scaled that album down, you know.
It'd be very... Self-editing goes a long way with making an album enjoyable. Essentially, especially if you're any type of hard rock or metal, brevity creates a sense of immediacy.
Well, I remember when Poor Man's Doom was like 13 minutes long before we cut out a lot of shit.
Yeah, we had to cut out that extra solo. That was a good best move, cutting out that second solo.
Dude, yeah, because it's a quick 8 minutes after you edit it down, but yeah.
Yeah, we were getting a little bit too big. We were pulling a Metallic ourselves on that one.
If we had two guitar players, I wouldn't have too much of an issue. I guess we do got keys and sax, so if we wanted to go crazy on some solo sections, we could.
That wasn't the song for it, though.
No. But I'm just saying, it's just funny because we're talking about self-editing, and our self-editing got us to an 8-minute song.
Yeah.
And here we are bitching about how long Metallica should.
But we make albums that are 8 songs.
We didn't put out fucking an hour 20 goddamn album.
No, we put 8 song max, 8 to 9 song max. Maybe we can write some shorter songs for this next record. I'm feeling doubtful because we never do. But
I'm a little more hopeful. I have a little more of it in me.
I forget. I don't know how long the song that I had.
Because I remember there was something you were talking about in practice, and I just kept on being like, no, we're cutting this motherfucker down. Because you were like talking about adding something. I don't know if it was the new one or like one of the other ones we started working on that we're not like fully finished. But I do just remember being like, Dante, you're the one preaching to shorten the songs. And you're trying to add shit. Just, no.
I know we talked about that. I can't remember what song.
I don't remember specifically what it was, but it was funny that it was just the way the roles were reversed, because you're always like, we need to have shorter songs. And I'm over here like, I'm trying to cut parts out, Dante. Like, what are you fucking doing?
But yeah, like because
that song's still long as shit too.
Yeah,
I think it was the cycle. Because we had like a few weeks where we were like kind of back and forth on how long, and Anthony added a bunch of shit back in.
Yeah, he did.
And it was like, no. And then like we cut it back down to about 5.5, 6 minutes, whatever it is.
How long it is?
Well, how long is that South Carolina video?
I think it was like 7.
I think it's probably like,
I think it did some extra.
I think it's like 650 if he doesn't do we're live, and I'm trying to figure out if everybody's good when everybody's good.
I'm still not sure how long that last outro section is, honestly. We've been winging it on stage in the past bit.
That's because Anthony's a fucking dick. And he will continuously make that motherfucker longer and longer and longer until I look at him and go, you get X amount of measures.
Like every time I think like, all right, this is where we do the switch, and nope, it's not. That's not that.
Yeah, no, I've been waiting on him on that part quite a few times. It's like, come on, bro, like your solo's not that good. It could be, but it's not yet.
Yeah.
Let's get in practice and tighten that bitch up. So yeah, it's 7.5 minutes long at the South Carolina show.
Okay.
So it's probably right at 7.
Yeah, that's our reviews for Overkill's
Fuck Aaron Lewis.
Our reviews for Overkill, Scorched, and Metallica 72 Seasons. I forgot to talk about the new album releases, but there's not too many major ones to talk about.
Fairy Ring, Wind Rider.
I was talking about the ones kept for this most recent Friday.
Well, I'm just letting y'all know who you really need to be listening to.
That is
once again.
There's only a handful for this past Friday of April 21st that came out. The biggest one being Inishikari. They released a new album, A Kiss for the Whole World, which I haven't got a chance to listen to yet. I heard the singles, and the singles are pretty solid. It's Inishikari in a simplified form. Do you know any Inishikari at all? Are you familiar with them? I'm going to go with a no.
That was another thing. High school bitches. I don't know.
They were like the OGs of electronicore, but a better version of it. Not the crappy, not the attack shit.
Either way, I'm. Meh.
Inishikari came with the Funeral Doom Titans. Bell Witch released the first
Just witch again.
There's a lot of witches. This is one of the bigger witch bands, though.
And I feel like Bell gets used too often now, too. But
well, Bell Witch released the first album of a 3-part series that they're doing.
what a bunch of fucking nerds. I'm just kidding.
Future Shadow, Part 1, The Clandestine Gate. This is a 1-track album that is an hour and 23 minutes. They are Funeral Doom. This is what Bell Witch is known for. Their last album, which was a huge witch. It was a huge witch? Oh, God. I don't even know what word I was trying to say there. A huge, popular, it was a popular album.
Okay.
A lot of people talked about it. I don't remember the name of it. It was like Mirror Bell. I don't fucking know. I just saw that album art everywhere, which sadly the artist for that album art died recently. So
waiting on Megadeth to pay him. I'm just kidding.
Megadeth can't have album art that cool.
Right.
But that album was like 2 tracks and it was like an hour long. But this one's 1 track and an hour 23 minutes. I have not worked up the nerve to listen to it yet. I've finally liked a Funeral Doom band with Ahab. Like I finally found a Funeral Doom band I liked. So maybe I'm a little more prepped to give Bell Witch a try now finally. But I don't know if I got an hour 23 to spare. Hopefully I like their hour 20-minute album better than Metallica's.
At least you know what you're getting into going in.
That is true. Speaking of Metallica, Jethro Tull released a record. Rock Flute, I guess is what I'm assuming that translates to rock flute.
I had no idea that Jethro Tull was still around.
Neither did I. I didn't know that was the whole thing.
But it's like a legit studio album?
Yep, Rock Flute from Inside Out Records. I haven't listened to it, so it's there. Jethro Tull. Here to haunt Metallica a week after their release. Once again.
We're always close.
Oh, man.
We never go away.
As Everything Unfolds released an album called Ultraviolet. I know I listened to their last record, which was a interesting mixture of post-hardcore and metalcore, female-led vocals. It's cool shit. Dawn of Ouroboros with Velvet Incandescence on prosthetic recordings. No idea about that record, so I can't give you anything on that. Texas Hippie Coalition, who I forgot still around.
Pissed off and mad about it.
Pissed off and mad about it.
Pissed off and mad about it.
400 pounds gonna sneeze off. They released a new record called The Name Lives On. On M&R.
Shit's just embarrassing.
Yeah, I haven't listened to that record at all.
I'd rather listen to 10 hours of that than Aaron Lewis, though.
Not planning on listening to that, I don't think.
Piss off, mad about it.
It's sadly catchy. I hate that if I listen to it, it gets stuck in my head.
Yeah, but that's like on the so bad. It's like the
so bad it's good.
Can you quack? Can you quack like a duck when you suck?
Shout out to Dog and Your Mom. Is that what it's
Goat
called?
and Your Mom.
Goat and Your Mom.
God of all Texas.
Goat and Your Mom. But
I'm actually friends with him on Facebook.
The greatest the most famous banana hammock in all the land.
His name's Michael something too.
A lot of Michaels
Palm Tree. I know. I think he went by Peter Anthony Palm Tree or some shit for a minute.
I enjoy dumb shit like that. There's a few other bands that release stuff on notable labels. I've been a big old slacker on looking up these shit, so I can't give you any context. Predatory Void, 7 Keys to the Discomfort of Being on Century Media.
I feel like we should be talking about Fairy Ring and Wind Rider.
Well, sadly, I haven't done a full listen of the Fairy Ring record yet.
You're a fucking wank.
I'm going to. It's
see, you listen to all this bullshit? You ain't listen to goddamn Fairy Ring all the way through
There's
yet?
a lot of stuff to listen to. There's a lot of stuff.
Then listen to the good shit, Dante. Fairy Ring will help you wet your whistle, dog.
I will listen to the full records. We can have a...
Shit, we listened to it on the way to Akron.
We did, and it was great.
And you're over here like, who's this? We just played with him,
I know
Dante.
who Fairy Ring is. I didn't say who they were. I just said I hadn't listened to it yet. But the whole thing.
You asked who it was. We had to tell you.
I know who Fairy Ring is. We just played with them.
We had to tell you it was Fairy Ring.
I know Fairy Ring. Okay. When you played it, I had to tell you who it was, but I recognized the riff after you said that. Though.
I see. I like how you just admitted that you asked after you got that defensive about it.
It's
okay.
I recognized the riff afterwards. Okay. Fairy Ring's awesome. Buy their shit.
That album is the shit.
They are fucking dope. There's
Like, if I was going to make a legit list of the year so far, it's going to be probably top 5 for me.
We really need to make like a homie corner section of the podcast to like go in depth on like.
That's why I'm just going to start throwing it out on you.
Start out.
Yeah, fuck you, Dante. Keep talking about Kiss and Pantera and Metallica.
It's what gets the click, sadly.
They'll click, and then they'll be like, "Oh, who's Wind Rider?" Like the baddest fucking.
See if there's anything coming out next week that's interesting to talk about as far as like new releases. Fucking Enforced. They're coming out with an album next week. And Spotlights.
I like Enforcer better.
Enforcers, it's good old thrashiness. Trying to pick up the mantle of where Power Trip left off. Crown the Empire. I don't like Crown the Empire. Why am I acting like I'm excited? Metalcore band that I don't even like, so I don't even like it either. Cradle of Filth's Trouble in the Double Lives live album. There's that.
Yeah, all I want to hear is Danny Filth live.
So there's Enforced. That's what you got to look forward to next week. But as far as this week, none of these are the bands that are super notable. Look up, Google it, people. Google what comes out.
Fairy Ring and Wind Rider.
Yes, but this podcast has gone on too long. Thank you all for listening to this latest, very sloppy iteration of the Heavy Haystack podcast.
How long did we go for?
We're at 2:02 right now without the song added. Without the Guillotine AD song added.
Yeah, damn, we didn't even have that much to talk about. I must have missed doing this.
Yeah. We did have the Metallica album to talk about. We were at about hour 30 before that, which is pretty solid. But, thank you for listening. You can follow the Heavy Haystack on all the socials. The Heavy Haystack on Instagram, the Heavy Haystack on Facebook. Or if you want to leave a comment about the show, you can send it through Spotify or give us an email at heavyhaystack@gmail.com.
It's your email, dummy.
It's been a while. It's been a month since we've done this. I'm out of practice. It's been so long since we've done this. The next episode will be much tighter. It's probably still not going to be about Dillinger Escape Plan.
Quit promising these people things.
We have no shows except for May 13th. We can get it done.
I got hemorrhoids.
You always got hemorrhoids.
Yeah, pains in my asses, aka my bandmates.
But that's all we got for you this week. Email the podcast, tell us what you liked about the show or what you hated about the show. Leave a 5-star review so that this podcast can get out to more people on your Apple Musics and your Spotify's.
Go Hassler and Lewis on Twitter.
But until next time,
on behalf of us, please add us on everything.
Yes.
Fuck Aaron.
Follow David at Dr. David Dorito on Instagram.
David Andrew Langley on Facebook if you want to be real friends. I'll even talk to you.
He will talk to you. He will chat you up. He's a chatty Cathy. But until next time, peace, love, music, and we'll see y'all on the next episode.
Deuces.